Okay, I think I'm live again. Apologies for technology. So welcome to Soul Infused Monday today with the topic, how to set healthy boundaries and stop being a pleaser. So because I had to jump off because of technical difficulties and I'm in a new live stream at the moment, please let me know if you hear and see me now. And thank you so much for your patience and for sticking here with me. I just want to make sure I see your post because I changed devices to make sure that I can be live here with you today. And I want to make sure that hi, Carrie. Carrie is here. Okay. And if I look over there, it's not that I'm distracted. I'm fully present with you. It's over there where I see the comments, and I just really want to make sure that you see and hear me. And my apologies again for the technical issues that just don't sometimes happens, okay? So please say hello, leave a comment below. I'm gonna jump in, how to set healthy boundaries and how to stop being a pleaser. And what is actually a pleaser? What does that mean to you and what do I mean? I'm a recovered pleaser. I was the biggest pleaser in the world. So what does it actually mean to be a pleaser? And I just wanna start that conversation by that because not everyone is familiar with the word pleaser, maybe, or maybe they're different associations. So number one, I would be curious, what does it mean to you? So if you're live here or watching the replay, leave me a comment and share with me, what does it mean to you to be a pleaser? And are you one? Do you struggle with being a pleaser? Do you struggle to be pleasing all the time versus really listening deep inside what you want to do and communicate that? Okay, Alyssa is back. Gigi, I can see and hear you perfect. Okay, fantastic. Wonderful. So a pleaser, from a terms of looking at it in a perspective, means that we are so conditioned to please, especially women. This topic is good, it's valid for men and women. However, it's very particularly important for women because we are from evolution or conditioning so to please and be nice as girls and women that it runs as an automatic autopilot program that we often don't even question or we don't even know, does this come from a genuine place of wanting to be helpful and generous and kind and compassionate, or is it literally an reaction that comes from an unconscious place? And there's a huge difference between being nice and loving and kind and helpful that comes from a place of choice, comes from a place of freedom and confidence and safety versus just being nice and saying yes and being pleasing all the time. Does that make sense? Does that resonate with you? Let me know. And Alyssa says, pleasing for her means to compromise herself for others' needs. Yes, good example. I wanna, and this is a huge topic that obviously I'm not gonna cover all of it, and it's definitely one of my preferred topics to teach and speak into. One of the things that I cover a lot in my Soul Infused live program that's coming up soon because it's so, so crucial. Let me tell you a quick story. A couple of weeks ago, a friend of mine had a few friends here for a visit. I live in the Dominican Republic, and dancing, I mean, I love to dance, as if you have followed me, you know that. And some of the dances here in the Dominican Republic are very sensual, are very close body connection, and that can be very nice and can be joyful and playful. And if it goes a little bit beyond what someone is comfortable with, it can also feel, well, uncomfortable. And sometimes in those, because I go out dancing, and when you dance with a guy and he gets too close and it gets like really, sometimes they get too excited and it's like literally like a grinding each other in each other's body. Why I'm sharing this with you, so we were talking, all the girls, we were together in an evening, we're talking, and so this one woman shared with me, or shared with all of us, it's like, well, she was dancing basically and she liked it a lot, but then this guy was dancing with her and it was too tight, too close, and she didn't enjoy that. And I said to her, you know that you can tell him to stop. You know you don't have to finish the song if you don't like it. And so she looks at me and says, yeah, I didn't even think of that. And first I was nearly a little bit shocked, and then I wasn't shocked because I was the same in the past. We rather endure something that's uncomfortable for us to not rock the boat, to not say something so that they don't, get hurt, or we are worried about what other people think of us, instead of her saying, hey, I like dancing with you, but this is too much, back off. I do this often because I live here and I love to dance, and I love to dance with guys, and I'm a very sensual person. And when it comes to the point that that's just getting too excited, I nicely but firm say, okay, enough. So why I'm sharing this story with you, first of all, so many women, and including me in the past, really struggle with setting healthy boundaries and saying no. And it gets to the point that you don't even question it, that you don't even think about if you could say no. Does that make sense to you? Let me know if you can relate to that. Do you relate to moments where you just do things and it's uncomfortable, and you often don't even have a thought of setting a boundary or saying no? And the first step, really, in order to set healthy boundaries and stop being a pleaser, is to recognize that you're actually doing it and that you have a challenge with it. That's the first step. You want to be aware of saying, hey, you know what? I am actually doing that, and I don't even notice it. It becomes automatic. Okay, let me see here the comments. Yes, it makes perfect sense. Okay. All right. And thank you. Those little pop-ups is because I'm on a different device, so it's all good. Yes, some types, and yes, it's automatic. Yeah, it's often automatic. It happens. So number one, you're not alone. You can totally shift that, and it will take some time. So it's not going to happen overnight. It's like a new language that you learn. But first you want to recognize, I'm actually doing that. And then, of course, you want to set the intention and decision to change that. Because one of the things that really made the biggest difference for me in my life, one of the things, a lot of the things that I've worked over the last 20 years that I've been working on myself and now passionately help you to do the same, one of the most important pieces for me to become this confident and vibrant and self-loving woman is to learn how to set boundaries and to say no and to stop being a pleaser. And I'm still very nice and I'm still very loving and kind. It's not that I'm, became an asshole doing that. And so I want to encourage you to tune in for a moment and check in with you. Do I have the tendency to please that is not coming from an authentic place? And just tune in, just recognize that for a moment. Take that moment to look into that. And then see if you have it in you to say, okay, I do want to change that. I'm going to set the intention to change that, and I'm going to take a step. So you really want to first recognize it, acknowledge it, and then to set an intention to change that. Once you've done that, from an energetical perspective, one of the places, different chakras are involved, but one of the things you want to look into, and that's often the case, is when you are blocked in your solar plexus. And the solar plexus is the third chakra from our energy system, and a chakra is an energy center. And the solar plexus we see here in the middle of your sternum is also the center of your power, your identity, and your self-worth. So very often what I see in women, and it was in my case as well, is that chakra is blocked inwards and it's collapsed to a certain extent that you don't access your power. And from an energetical perspective in setting boundaries, it's also that it's not only about the words when you say, no, I don't want this, or whatever you say, and the boundary is not respected, is that it has no energetical impact. Like energetically, it's not strong enough because it doesn't come from a place to say, where you bring your energy out. So you want to look at that too, and you want to work on that third chakra, your solar plexus, so that you get empowered, that you can come from a place where you stand so solid that you feel safe because that's a big issue for women. We don't feel safe setting a boundary because of our belief system and conditioning. However, I want you to know that you're totally safe and capable to set a boundary. And if you don't feel it this way right now, you can totally learn this. Absolutely. I was not able to say no or set a boundary, and I was always pleasing, always nice, and extremely unhappy and depressed. So, and guys, let me know if you have questions about this. This is such an important topic. Let me know if you have questions. I'm super happy to answer you, and I'll just look over there while I go through them. So give me a moment, and if you're watching the replay, and if you have a question, this is a great moment to leave your question. Okay, so let me see what we have here. Is there something else I can do when I'm in my lift to help me? Alisa, can you be a little bit more specific? You mean like when you do what that you don't want to do? Or you mean like in general? Be a little bit more specific, and then I'm happy to answer the question. Hi, Debbie's here. Oh, sorry, I saw another comment. Let me just check them. So Alyssa sharing, I do it when Lyft driving, and Lyft driving is like Uber. I can feel people's energy and I adapt myself for them. I can feel it in my third chakra. I'm trying to convince my inner child that it is not her responsibility to take care of everyone. It's very challenging. I just be with it now. Okay, so first of all, it's not about convincing your inner child. You just let her know, because she doesn't need to be convinced. She just needs to feel safe. That's a great question. So when you're somewhere and you feel that you feel other people's energies and you adapt to please them, it often comes from a place of you are afraid of what they're going to think of you, and underneath is a fear of not being safe. So besides of what you do anyway already, and I work with Alyssa, so I know she's awesome, and she's working on it already. So you're doing good already. What you want to do is you really want to use your breath. And everybody who watches this and has any sort of challenges with that can apply to that, and you can even do it right now. So you want to take a breath. And one thing that's helpful is you want to really sit up straight and imagine yourself being a powerful woman that you are. And then you expand the energy around your solar plexus. And one thing that you can also do is you go up to your third eye and you go above that need to please someone. And you center. And what other people think of you is obviously not your business, and you know that, and it comes more from the fear of not being safe or to please someone. So another thing to look from another perspective is also people, it's not about pleasing people, but because it's such an ingrained issue for us, people appreciate honesty because that's what's missing in this world. Everybody's pleasing, everybody's fake, everybody is trying to be someone they're not. So when you get to the point when you can be yourself and you stay authentic, that's going to help you create also deeper connections and authentic connections. And that's what you ultimately want. And it makes you feel more safe. Let me know if this is helpful, Alyssa. And if you have more questions, I'm happy to, of course, continue the journey with you one-on-one closely. That is helpful. Okay. Any other questions? Let me have a quick look. And I would like to hear from you. What are your challenges when it comes to boundaries? What are your challenges when it comes to pleasing? Share with me, because the more you share, the more specific I can actually help you with. And it's also a moment of stepping out and being seen. Okay, so, and give me a second. I really appreciate your patience here today because of how this is set up today. It takes me a moment to see, to see the comments. Okay, so I got them now. Finally, yay, yay. Okay. Carrie, I am typically very aware when I can set boundaries. I just don't always set them. Okay, great. So look deeper. Why not? You know, what's holding you back from setting them? So check a little bit deeper. What is the reason not to? Because then you can take a next step. Okay. Okay. One other thing also, when you look at it from a perspective of saying yes or no, every time you say yes to someone or something that you have an authentic no inside, every time you say a yes to the outside, you give yourself a no. And it's easier said than done to just shift that, but the power of saying no is huge. So even if you just start with small steps in recognizing internally, is this a yes or is this a no? So to get out of that automatism, besides of going deeper inside and do the work that's important to resolve the beliefs and the collapseness in your solar plexus through the wounds from the past, you can start by always tuning in first for a moment. Take a breath and simply ask yourself the question, is this a yes in me or a no? There's not between maybe or maybe not. It's very clear. It's a yes or a no. And regardless what you are going to do, if you're going to express the no or the yes, but find it out for yourself. Is it a yes or a no? If it's a yes, easy. You move forward and do whatever it is or say whatever it is. And if it's a no, take another breath, imagining expanding the solar plexus. And what if you simply say, no, this doesn't work for me? Write that down, even this simple statement. No, this doesn't work for me. However, this is what works for me, if you want to give an option. You know, it could be a simple thing at work. You know, you are at your office or you have a lot of work and someone comes and says, hey, can you please do that for me? And you know you don't. No, you don't. You don't want to do it and it's not good for you and you have 10 other things already piled up. You can say, no, that doesn't work for me. However, I can do it tomorrow afternoon. So you give them an option, or it makes you maybe also feel better to have something as an alternative instead of just saying no. So no, that doesn't work for me. However, I can do this instead, or however this works for me. So try that out. Yeah? Okay, and because I jumped in late today through technology, I'm gonna stay a few minutes longer. So let me know if you have any questions, if this resonates with you. One challenge is setting boundaries with my ex-husband. Okay, good. What specifically about that, Lilia? If you are more specific, I might be able to help you. And if it's too personal, that you don't want to share in public, you can send me a message or connect with me later. There are certain people where it's more challenging than others. And for example, with your ex-husband, Guille, it might also be because you have so many different attachments. You have kids together. There are other things involved. It's not just a random neighbor from the next door. So setting boundaries is more challenging with people that we have attachment with or that we are close with. So in that sense, when you have someone like that, you wanna check deeper into what are the attachments or what are the beliefs or bondings that are keeping us that makes me have a more challenging time. Like, what's your fear? What's your fear underneath to setting a boundary with your ex-husband? So dig a little deeper so that you have more clarity around it, so that you can move forward and set a better boundary. And what's coming for me too, and it's not only for Guille, that's for everyone who has a hard time setting boundaries, especially with an ex-husband or anyone close to you. Often our partners or ex-partners trigger something deeper in us because they become a projection of our parents. So what you also can do, Guille, is to look into how does that resonate or remind you of your childhood and you growing up. I think that might be super valuable for you. Let me know if this is helpful, Guille. Okay, now it's popping in. Debbie, what if I do not like the consequences of setting boundaries with my older son? I'm afraid that I will give in eventually to him, and then this is not good. Yeah. So to the question, what if I don't like the consequences? Well, you might not like the consequences. You get to deal with that. And that's part of really, and it's not easy. However, that's a super great question. Partly of us not setting boundaries is because we are afraid of the consequences. And we are not afraid of the consequence, we are afraid of how to deal with the consequence. And therefore, it's another consequence. So it's a great question, and to see, okay, what is the consequence that I'm afraid of, and how can I handle it better? Because then you make a choice, because if you give in at some point, and I get it, it's sometimes really with kids, and sometimes it's just easier to give in. However, giving in might give you a release in that moment. However, long term, or looking beyond that moment, it will create you more stress than if you would have dealt with the consequence. Does that make sense, Debbie? And let me know if this is helpful. Carrie, I find that I set boundaries with family. For example, my sister-in-law. I know that she's not someone I want to be around, so I don't nurture a relationship. I feel guilty. Okay, I have a belief that I should make an effort and that I should have a relationship. Okay, so it's not a specific question. So you guys, if you want to have specific question, the more specific the question, the better. However, I get what you're saying, and it's a great point, because a lot of people struggle with that, is the feeling guilty and the shoulds. So you get to really work to the underlying issue why you feel guilty in the first place. And then you can resolve it on a deeper layer. Again, I feel it's something in the solar plexus as well. And see where that expectation comes from, and also go beyond what is the fear behind that. So if I understood that correctly, you don't nurture the relationship that much, but then you feel guilty. So my question is, why do you feel guilty? And then you explore deeper, because there's no reason to feel guilty. Just because she's your sister-in-law. You know what I'm just saying? Yeah, and then you work on that belief, absolutely. Yeah, whenever you hear yourself say or think the word should, or I should have a relationship with her, you know it's coming from a place of guilt, judgment, conditioning. And then you can question it. You can literally use your mind and your logic sometimes to see, okay, why should I? And then the answer is, yeah, because she's your sister-in-law. Okay, why should I? And you keep asking the question to see, well, there's actually no reason why I should. And I make a conscious choice to nurture a relationship as much as I want, instead of doing it out of guilt. Does it make sense? Let me know if this is helpful. Do you mean up as in get in touch with third chakra and higher? Replying to Alyssa. Yes, I meant exactly that. And Alyssa has been working with me for a while. It's really connecting up to the upper third eye. Also what I shared in the Soul Infused Summer program, in the third eye program. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, leave a comment below or send me a message. I'm happy to guide you to that resource. And I don't mean you, Carrie, I mean in general. But yes, that's it. Yes. Julia says, oof, yes, yeah, with the ex-husband. And she hasn't thought about that. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Okay, you were asking. Okay, makes total sense. Okay, guys, fantastic. So I'm gonna wrap this up. If you have further questions, or if you feel that you want to dive deeper into this, but you are not comfortable showing it in public, just send me a message. I'm happy to connect with you and answer questions. Ask them as specific as possible, because then I can help you in the best way. And if you want to do some deeper work around it and hear more about my Soul Infused Life program that's coming up soon, I'm super excited about that. It's going to be amazing. Please just leave in the comment, yes, I would love to hear more about Soul Infused Life, and I will get you some details. Okay, so thank you so much for being here today. I love you, I appreciate you. Thank you for being patient with the technology today. And if you're on the replay, please let me know that you're here so that I can send you some love as well. Fantastic. It was excellent. Thank you. Oh, you're so welcome. Debbie. So glad you were here, and everybody else. Thank you. Much love, and come back next Monday for a new episode of Soul Infused Monday, and have a fantastic rest of your day. Much love. So I'm sure I'm still live, and because I'm in a different device, I don't know how to to stop the video. So you can obviously leave until I figure this out. I got it. It's so funny. Okay, bye-bye for now.